Good afternoon and welcome back to DR Sports for some breaking news. Laurie, the head honcho of LL Sports, joins me. Big up to you, my bro. How are you?
Thanks for the plug, bro.
Yeah,
no, I'm all right,
always.
man. But yeah, listen, breaking news indeed.
Listen, another one.
I can't say I'm shocked, but I am surprised.
I agree, especially considering. Let's just go over it again one more time for the people that are joining us. Sean Dyche has been sacked. He's been relieved of his duties at Everton Football Club. And this breaking news, Laurie, comes less than 3 hours before their FA Cup tie tonight against the posh Peterborough at home. There were reports earlier on in the day from the Liverpool City Council that actually said the game might not even go ahead tonight. They've been gritting around Goodison Park to enable it to go ahead, which makes it even more surprising. They're now going into that game with no manager, and after 2 years, he's lost his post at Everton. We're all reacting to this.
They've been operating without a manager for a while.
Exactly, including myself. But I'm trying to be neutral.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your instant reaction when you heard this. We're going to jump into the chat. We're going to jump in to see what you guys think. Potential replacements as well for this one. But what is your initial reaction? I mean, I found this news 10 minutes ago and I was shocked.
Listen, whenever you hear the news about a manager losing his job, you're always somewhat taken aback, yeah? However, with this one, I was surprised but not shocked because, let's face it, Everton's form of recent weeks has been really poor, and it has to be said, the football has not been a good watch, has it? And the Everton fans I've heard on phone-ins and radio stations across the country, they've been expressing their displeasure, anger even at the way the football is. And I don't think his positions were starting to become untenable, really.
100%. Yeah, the pressure mounted on Dyche after Everton have won just 3 of their 19 Premier League games this season, leaving them 1 point outside the relegation zone. Everton's new owners, the Friedkin Group, held talks with Graham Potter, but he actually went over to West Ham in the end, as we now know. But they're doing their due diligence now on managerial targets ahead of what is going to be a succession planning, and they have apparently several names on their shortlist already. There was reports earlier from Ken Lawrence, Laurie, who said Dyche, and we weren't aware of this when we did the show earlier, but there were reports that Dyche is almost certain now to be on the way out after this news, obviously, today. But let me throw 2 names at you, Laurie, that could replace him instantly.
I think I know one.
David Moyes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And do you know what? I listened to, I think it was Tony Bellew speaking the other day about when Moyes was at the club. Obviously, they were getting into Champions League qualifiers. They were challenging for Europe. They got to an FA Cup final. They lost that. But he made the club feel like a family again. He was working within a real low budget and managed to squeeze the absolute maximum out of these players. Yes, we're 20 years on from when David Moyes was at Everton. I think he came in 2002. 23 years on now. But man, I did not expect this. But is he the front runner now to come back home almost to Goodison Park as they now go into this new era of the new stadium next season?
I would have thought so. Although there's 2 things I want to say on that. The number one is that old adage, never go back. David Moyes kind of built his reputation as a manager at Everton, and yes, he achieved some good things, but they do say you should never go back. But hey, that's one thing. The second thing is that the football that David Moyes plays, I mean, a lot of the Everton fans are expressed their extreme concern at the football that Dyche was playing. I would argue that, aesthetically anyway, some of the football that gets played under David Moyes is not the best. So there might be those stands, and listen, I'm not an Everton fan, but there might be a lot of Everton fans. There may not be that much of an improvement if Moyes comes in and plays a similar type of football to what he's always played.
Yeah, and we saw at the end of his reign at West Ham how that maybe didn't work. Another name I'm going to throw at you as an instant replacement, Jose Mourinho. He's now been linked with the job as well. I mean, you'd have to buy him out of his contract at Fenerbahce. But
you know what I'm going to say about that? Personally, I'd love to see Jose back in the Premier League.
Mourinho said in an interview in October, Laurie, that when he leaves Fenerbahce, he would be willing to join a club at the bottom of the Premier League, which obviously fits Everton's description.
Did he say that tongue-in-cheek, though?
Well, he said, so a club at the bottom in England who needs a coach in 2 years, I'm ready to go. I don't want to speak any more about it. I want to speak about the game. So I mean, David Moyes, could he be a more viable short-term option? Probably. You'd have to pay out 8.8 million to get Mourinho in, according to teamtalk.com. But it was 21 wins, 23 draws and 31 losses in his time at Everton, 28% win ratio. The question that I have for you on the back of this, Laurie, is with Everton sitting in the table, dangerously balancing above the relegation zone, I almost think, what did you expect, or what do you expect, though? Because this is where Everton have been now for the last 3 years.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. Again, I think a lot of it is down to the football. I mean, they hardly score any goals.
Yeah.
The football's quite turgid by all accounts. They do have an odd performance in it. I mean, look, they took points off us this season.
Yeah.
So, listen, they've got some good players there. And I think the Everton fans will be quite justified in saying, look, we should be doing better than what we're doing right now. So I do have some empathy with that argument. I guess you could also counter that by saying be careful what you wish for.
I agree.
Because one thing about Dyche is, he kept them up last season. He does have certain fundamental principles, which to me would have ensured that Everton stay out. I didn't see them going down because I do think there's 3 worse teams than them in the Premiership. So, I didn't see them going down, but I guess it's, how can I put it? There's like a trajectory thing in it. If the trajectory is kind of downwards and then the football is not good, and they've been through this a couple of seasons now, they're probably thinking, look, enough is enough. Let's cut ties and get somebody else.
I've got some more for you. It's unravelling in front of us, this story. This is from Ben Jacobs, who is, of course, the senior football correspondent at Give Me Sport. He's also part of the Premier League team as well. More on Sean Dyche's sacking. The Friedkin Group has taken this week to decide whether a mid-season change was needed. Plenty of respect for Dyche and the job done under challenging circumstances. But in the end, a new manager now seen as the best approach, especially knowing Dyche's contract was running down anyway. Succession planning already in place because of this, meaning TFG will feel prepared to find a new manager now. This is the interesting bit, though. Everton players were in the dark about this, Laurie, until this afternoon. Right. Wow. Bear in mind, in 3 hours they play a game against Peterborough, maybe the worst ever preparation for that game. But several of Dyche's backroom team said goodbye to non-playing staff ahead of the Peterborough game. Here's the interesting bit: Jose Mourinho is not a contender, so we can rule that one out now. It didn't end well between the Friedkin Group and him at Roma when they were both there. Right. Yeah, and then also denials from sources, basically just breaking down everything that we said at the start of this video, but denials from sources that Graham Potter was ever formally approached before West Ham. We understand that David Moyes is open to the return, and Sir Gareth Southgate is also admired, but has indicated he does not want a mid-season role.
Oh, yeah,
So
what about Gary O'Neill?
New info. Again, could be a good move.
He was
that Liverpool?
I mean, I know he was sacked from Wolves, but previously he was seen as a young, progressive English manager.
I agree, and maybe his ties to Liverpool, I'm not sure. But for him, he should take the job if he's still looking. Here's the official statement from Everton Football Club that came out 14 minutes ago. Everton Football Club can confirm that Sean Dyche has been relieved of his duties as senior men's first-team manager with immediate effect. Ian Wone, Steve Stone, Mark Howard and Billy Mercer have also left the club. Here's the immediate replacements. The process to appoint a new manager is underway and an update will be provided in due course. But get on this, Laurie. The under-18s head coach, Leighton Baines, and club captain, Seamus Coleman, will take charge of first-team affairs on an interim basis. That is wild.
That is wild.
That is absolutely wild. So tonight you're going to see Leighton Baines and the club captain, Seamus Coleman, walking the team out. I assume Ashley Young will be the captain tonight because there is a chance that he could play against his son.
Yeah, I did see that
tonight.
Yeah. Previously, that would have been the story, wouldn't it?
That would have been the story, but now
it's been superseded.
It has been superseded. So,
do you think that's a little disrespectful to Peterborough for them to be like sacking the manager a couple of hours before? I mean, I would suggest that had they been playing a Premier League team or a team that with a bit more chance of beating, they might not have done it. But anyway, they've done it now.
It's been done.
It has been done,
Laurie. I can't get my head around it. I mean,
do you think that they had a meeting with Dyche and maybe got a little bit shirty? Maybe Sean might, because Sean's quite a
He stands on
resilient
business,
character,
doesn't he?
yeah. So he might have pushed back at certain
Maybe.
things.
You never know, the ins and outs. I mean, it has been a very tumultuous time so far at Everton for him. I just read the record. David Ornstein has just tweeted again, Jose Mourinho not in contention to take over as the next Everton manager following the departure of Sean Dyche today. Never a consideration either for the Portuguese coach or the Friedkin group, having worked together at Roma. So
I must admit, I'd love to have seen that.
just for the pure drama of it all, right?
Yeah, some of the quotes. And
new rivalry with Liverpool there renewed as well. There's people in the chat, and we're going to jump into the comments now. Big up to Terence, who says, is it shocking the Premier League only has 2 to 3 English managers now? No. Because where are the good ones? Enough of them. Arteta would be great for Everton with his style, says Ricky.
Well,
Big
he did
up
play
to you.
for them.
He did. A couple other comments that aren't super chats. He was, mate. Can't say I'm shocked, but I'm surprised, says Scars. The special one is returning, says Craig. Steve Cooper next. Again, another manager that could do with a
however,
role.
his stock has somewhat plummeted recently.
Sean Dyche getting sacked 3 hours before they face Peterborough, sorry, in the FA Cup is hilarious. Jose on his way to Everton, says P. We now know that's not true. And Elijah says, WTF, I did not expect this news. So Gareth Southgate in, says Yitz.
I'll tell you what I would say though, just quickly, is that I'm always surprised when a club relieves the existing manager and there's no immediate thoughts of a replacement. So that suggests to me that something is not quite right between the manager and the board.
Right.
Yeah.
There's been some kind of breakdown there.
Yeah, it would appear that maybe certain discussions had not gone very well. And like we said, maybe Sean had pushed back because you would have thought that, listen, clubs are not silly. They do their due diligence. When things are not going well, they will never publicly admit this, but I'm pretty certain that when things are not going well, they start to sound out managers.
Throw a few texts around.
In the eventuality that they might need to replace him sooner rather than later. It would appear here that there is no plan. So that lends kind of credence to what we were saying, that maybe something's happened between the board and Sean Dyche, because sacking a manager 3 hours to go before a game and there's no obvious replacement, it's just weird to me.
Yeah, and again, they've got their work cut out now in a really busy time this season to go and find that replacement.
I think
people are saying Rooney in the
what
comments.
What do people think out there? Let me know.
People are saying Rooney in the chat. I mean, he is unemployed right now, isn't he?
I'm sure Rooney would take the job, but I'm not sure, man. No disrespect to Wayne Rooney, fantastic player. One of the best players ever to grace football in this country. But as a manager, let's face it, he's found it difficult.
Very difficult. Erastus in the chat saying switch Ashley Young to interim manager. Obviously, he's pushing to 40 now. We've asked you in the chat, there's a poll up now. Who next for Everton? Will it be David Moyes, Sir Gareth Southgate, Wayne Rooney? Eric Ten Hag is mentioned in this poll as well. I don't know who in production thought that was a good one, because that's not going to happen.
I think Gary O'Neill would be a good choice for him.
I think so. Let's ask the people at home. If it isn't any of those names in the poll, how do you react to this news? Everton fans, let us know what you think. Is this was it inevitable? Was it overdue? Was there a bit of fallout? Maybe we can get a better understanding from behind the scenes. And then who would you go for? Because now
he's looking for work.
He's there.
He's available.
But if he can't get a tune out of West Ham, he is definitely not getting a tune out of the Toffees. I'm telling you that. Liverpool fans. Let's ask Liverpool fans what they think about this. Let's not forget, right? We were supposed to play Everton about 3 weeks ago in the Merseyside derby. The game got called off. That's right. Let's just say that in a hypothetical world, that game went ahead and Everton won. Would Sean Dyche be getting sacked today?
Joey Barton? He's a scouser. He fancies himself as a manager.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
I'm not sure whether that would be a good fit for
maybe Everton. Marine in Liverpool, not Everton. JN saying Jurgen Klopp to Everton. Can't see that one. Frank Lampard, could he go back? He's at Coventry at the minute. I can't see that one. Poch or De Zerbi, says P. Godder. Poch is in America now. De Zerbi at Marseille, so why would they both leave that? Gerard says Preetham. I can't see that one happening. Happy not going to play Dyche ball under the lights at Goodison, says David. I just wonder what happens to him if that game went ahead.
It's a difficult job, but let's be honest, it's not. Listen, I don't want to come across as condescending or disrespectful in any way, but is it the hardest job in the world? Because let's be honest, Everton, I don't think are going to go down, are they?
Mm-hmm.
No team is good enough to say,
they're level on points with Ipswich, so you never know. You can't rule them out.
But I would argue, and what do you think, that there are 3 worse teams than Everton in the Premier League?
Just.
So coming in and keeping them up, but actually, it's not the hardest job in the world, is it?
With your logic, are you saying then that Wolves are worse than Everton? Because I wouldn't say they are.
No, I'm saying that the 3 there.
But bro, look how close it is.
Leicester and Ipswich.
I mean, listen, Southampton and Leicester, they're probably gone, right? Yeah. But you look at Ipswich, 16 points. Wolves, 16 points. Everton in 16th on 17 points. 3 wins all season. I would say that Wolves are a better team than Everton. So that puts Everton then in 17th. And then it's a shootout then between Ipswich and Everton. Yeah, but on paper, Wolves are a much better side than Everton. They should never be in 17th, if we're being honest, Wolves, with the players they've got. But if they do go behind Wolves, then it's a straight shootout between Ipswich and the Toffees, no? And at the minute, the table doesn't lie, Laurie. That's why they've sacked him.
You know what? That's
because that is dangerous. You are hanging above that.
True,
and
you can see why the club have acted.
But this is my point, Laurie, right?
But 3 hours before an FA Cup.
That's wild, and we'll speak about that still. But Everton, without sounding disrespectful, yes, they got the 10 points deduction last season, and they did well after that. But is this not where Everton should be for the last 3 to 5 years anyway? Like, can they really say that they are anywhere lower than they have been in the last 3 to 5 years?
You're right. Over the last 3 years, they have been consistently at the nether ends of the Premier League.
I'd agree, man.
But it's potentially quite a big club.
Oh, it's a massive club, Everton.
And I'm looking at the teams around there. Look,
I just think if Wolves pick it up a little bit.
Man United, I mean,
United have only got 6 more points than the Toffees. Oh wow, what a scene that table is at the minute. I can't believe it. But
for the right guy, I don't think it's the hardest job in the world, if that makes sense. Because I would back them to stay up.
Yeah, just stay up.
And the expectation is not going to be. I think what the fans want is A, to stay up, and B, for the level of football to improve. Score some goals.
Just had a great idea who they could get.
Who?
2 names. Neil Warnock.
Nah.
The return of Big Sam Allardyce, who got them to 8th, I think, in 2016, 2017.
I reckon they'll go for a foreign manager or something.
Maybe, but if you need to stay up, who's on your speed dial in the Premier League era? Big Sam's got to be up there. I know he didn't succeed with Leeds. He was there, wasn't he? Tried to keep them up halfway through the season, but I don't think Big Sam's the worst shout. I really don't.
No, I can't.
I really don't think Big Sam is the worst shout, knowing that he's been there as well. Ipswich are playing better than Everton, says Joey on the Super Chats there. And that's why I said, Ipswich at the minute and Wolves are looking to get out of those spots and maybe dump Everton into the relegation spots. But Laurie, let me ask you this. If you're Seamus Coleman, Leighton Baines, preparing the first team squad tonight for this FA Cup tie against Peterborough, which, let's be honest, right, Peterborough are in the Championship. They're only 15 odd places below Everton in the football pyramid right now. How do you get your players up? How do you get their brains focused on this after just hearing this afternoon, because they were kept in the dark? I mean, they've never been in this experience before where they've needed to react to news like this. But if you're a player in the changing room right now preparing for this game, where is your head at?
Good question. I mean, I would imagine there'll be some players on the fringe of the team that's probably quite glad he's gone.
Right.
Because they might get an opportunity to come in and play. They've just got to be professional at the end of the day. It's a home tie. No disrespect to Peterborough, but Everton should be winning that tie. So
should be.
My response to you is there could have been more difficult games, put it that way.
Yeah, agreed.
And that would have made the situation worse. So yeah, they've just got to be professional, get the job done. It might even free them up to a certain degree. They won't be operating under the constraints of a style of management whereby, that he's got quite a rigid approach. It might help them. Take the shackles off, go out there, win the game, score a couple of goals, give the fans something to shout about, and then they move on from there.
And then it's a fresh slate
for
any players.
Because I'm looking at their games coming up. Alex, and they've got some difficult games. I mean, they're at home to Villa. It's their next Premier League game after the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Then they're at home to Tottenham. That's not going to be easy. And then they're away to Brighton.
I apologise. Peterborough in League One, not the Championship.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, there's quite a disparity. But, yeah, I mean, and then they got a massive game against Leicester, which is, let's face it, a relegation shootout. And then another one against Crystal Palace that's in and around there.
And don't forget, Laurie, between that, what I think anyway, between that Leicester game and the Palace game, they're going to shoe in the Merseyside derby that needs to be rearranged. And then, is there a new manager bounce for Liverpool? But again, that's within a month's time. But yeah, you're looking at their games, right? Peterborough tonight, as you said. Next Wednesday at home to Villa. That's no easy game.
No easy game.
Tottenham at home. They should probably lose that game. Brighton away. And then, like you say, the next winnable game, I would say, is try and get something out of the game against Leicester at home. But it doesn't get any easier for them because they're looking at the table right now. I mean, what do you think? We don't know. We're not privy to these behind-the-scenes conversations. But what do you think the straw was that broke the camel's back here? Because, yes, there's been rumours and bits and bobs flying around for a few months. But what is, in your opinion, the thing
to me, outside looking in, I think, obviously they're in a very precarious position in the league. But the constant thing that I kept hearing from Everton fans was the style of football, them not scoring goals, the manager's approach. And I always say this, Alex, if you've got a style of play that doesn't sit well with the fans, you better be winning games. Because as soon as you stop dropping points or losing games and the fans are already disaffected with the playing style, there's only one way it's going to end.
Chat here.
Unfortunately for Sean Dyche, I'm afraid. But I am still perturbed. I'd love the people watching this show to let us know what they make of the sacking 3 hours.
Has that ever happened before?
Not that all the time I've been watching for, I can't remember it happening like that.
I mean, maybe the night before or the night after the game or on the night, but after the game.
There's
where you've seen 5-0, get him gone.
But I can't ever remember.
I mean, this Everton, there's just drama that follows them everywhere they go. And I think when you sack a manager 3 hours before a game, where does that leave the players' heads? And do you know what? If they go out tonight, the fans will be blaming the board for that decision. I mean, look, if you want to sack him, what are we on? Thursday morning, they've got a game at the weekend, but sack him after the game.
Available as well. Rob Edwards.
He lost his job today at Luton. That's a very good shout, Laurie. That is a great shout. That could be one that they... Yeah. And Luton, I think they beat Everton twice away last season.
Yeah, they did.
In the Cup and League.
He left Luton today, didn't he?
He
By
did.
mutual consent. In fact, from what I'm hearing, I don't know if it's factual or not, I think the catalyst for him leaving the club was him. I think he went in and said, look,
I've taken you as far as I can go, yeah. And they're not doing well.
Because he's quite a beloved figure at Luton.
Yeah, they're not doing well at all. Yeah, he's very loved. He's done such a great job.
So there's another one that's available. So he's available. Gary O'Neill's available. Lopetegui's available.
Moyes.
David Moyes is available.
Rooney. You never know with Everton, bro. You never know with Everton. Seriously. Who else?
Do you think Moyes will take it then?
I think he would. Yeah.
He's said statements to the effect that he's enjoying his break, but he's hinted that if the right offer come along...
And what other offer would you take over this one?
The only thing I would say about that is that old adage, like I said, about they say you should never go back.
I hear that. So are you ruling Ancelotti out there?
He might be a stabilising option. He might look at it and think, look... Because look at it from David Moyes. If he goes in there, he'll be like the hero, isn't he?
Yeah.
And if he keeps them up, which I think you probably would...
Yeah.
Then he could say to the board, well, look...
Give me some money, let's go again next season.
Exactly. Or he might say, look, I've kept you up. Thank you very much. Yeah. Legend is still in place.
John Eustace to Everton says Muprasa, the former manager at Coventry, was it? The one who unfairly got sacked?
Oh,
no, that was Mark Robbins. Eustace was at...
Robbins. Eustace.
Where was he at? John Eustace. He was at Derby. Well, no, sorry, forget that. He was, of course, he's at Blackburn now. But he was at, that's as a player. Where was he at? Where did he come from, John Eustace? People know that in the chat. They can help us out. So are you ruling out Ancelotti to come back then?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work out somehow.
Oh, wow. But Moyes went back to West Ham to disprove your point. He went back to West Ham a second time and won a European trophy.
No, I'm not saying they should never go back. I'm just saying that the adage says you should never go back.
I agree.
But,
Cesc Fabregas? Lee Carsley? Former Everton player as well.
yeah, that's true.
Martin O'Neill was on the overlap recently. Could be him. I'd love Martin O'Neill to get back in the game.
Is it?
Duncan Ferguson, I'm sorry, they can't go back to him. How many times have they tried to make that work? Roy Keane, I doubt they'd speak to him. Craig Bellamy's obviously the Wales manager. Big Sam returns, says Ahilja. I agree. Yes, he was at Birmingham. John Eustace was at Birmingham. And then they brought Rooney in, and that was the whole.
Of course,
do you remember? That was
the
whole
when he got sacked. There was a lot of people that wasn't
I
happy.
mean, Rooney's record now is getting at Derby. What is it? DC United, Plymouth. It's not looking good, bruv. Birmingham, he was awful there as well. Zidane,
Ashley Young player manager. You kind of hinted at that.
I hinted at that. Ashley Young player manager. I've seen stranger things happen, but
I
as
don't
I said
think
earlier,
he's got the
man.
experience that, obviously that's needed.
Yeah, Steve Bruce. I think he was at Blackpool, or might still be at Blackpool. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Patrick Vieira. Time for Arsenal to get Sean Dyche, says unlucky. Oh, jeez, this is still a story that we're reacting to. All of these names, of course, have just popped up. Alan Kirbishley, I'm not sure about that. Eric Ten Hag, Zidane, behave, people in the chat. Don Robbie was away today, and Dyche gets the sack.
There's no truth to the rumour.
Could it be Robbie?
On Merseyside.
Could it be Robbie that he's been?
Properties.
Robbie is in the northwest today, though. I am
right.
hearing, so you never quite know.
He's looking at properties in the Liverpool area.
Yeah, maybe. Big Tony Pulis says Languish RS Klopp. We've had that on.
Big Tony Bellew.
Troy Deeney. Mate, can you imagine Tony Bellew getting you on the bleep test? No thanks, mate. Rafa to finally send them down, says Sid. Listen, he was close. Agent Rafa almost did the job that we were asking of him. Pep to Everton, says Alien. But just to reiterate what the initial breaking news was, around about, I would say 40 minutes ago now, was as of today, Everton released a statement saying this, and again I'll read it out just because we're still reacting to this. They actually allowed the leak or whatever to go out without putting the statement out first, which I always find you're almost covering yourself if you allow the press to run with it first and then you put your statement out. Put your statement out first and then you control the narrative. But Everton Football Club can confirm that Sean Dyche has been relieved of his duties, sacked, as senior men's first team manager with immediate effect.
That's the one that strikes me with immediate effect.
Yeah, it's quite damning.
That suggests to me that something's gone on behind the scenes that might have, been a bit unsavoury, mate.
Yeah.
Disagreements and arguments, and got a bit,
Do you know what I always think as well, right? When a manager gets sacked, his whole playing staff gets sacked as well.
Yeah.
So he gets the call. He's then got to call Ian, Steve, Mark, Billy, and be like, lads, we're gone. So the families of the assistant, no one ever really thinks of that, do they? The assistant managers, the coaches, they've now all lost their jobs as well. The process to appoint a new manager is underway and an update will be provided in due course. The early signs are David Moyes would be open to the return, but tonight, less than 2 hours now away from their FA Cup third round tie against the Posh, the under-18s head coach Leighton Baines, I didn't even know he was the under-18s head coach there.
Actually, I did hear that. I had heard that.
And club captain Seamus Coleman. So they're almost getting the old band together to look after the ship for a night here with Leighton and Seamus.
But didn't Sean Dyche, right, didn't he give a weird type of post-match interview after the game against Bournemouth when he said, if you take away the fact that we've not been scoring goals, it wouldn't be anywhere as bad. The performance wouldn't be anywhere near as bad as what some people are suggesting.
Yeah,
didn't he allude to that?
They just can't score goals. It really just does seem like they just can't score any goals at the minute, and that's why they've got a -10 goal difference in the league right now. So, yeah, what is your reaction as Sean Dyche's time at Everton is now over after the game was announced, now is safe to happen. So that was the first thing. Would this game even go ahead? But Liverpool City Council, who I myself have to pay every month, they have got the ground safe for their game tonight against Peterborough in the cup. If they win this game now tonight with Baines and Coleman on the touchlines, how far along does that continue for? And then if they lose tonight, what is the fans feeling? I mean, I can't wait to listen to TalkSport tonight when them toffees are phoning in after they go out to the posh, potentially.
Well, I mean, it could backfire dramatically. If they go out to Peterborough, first and foremost, that's a shocking result in itself.
Big upset.
But then the first thing that will happen is people will talk about the sacking and the timing of it. Yeah. And they will say, basically, the club's in shambles. How could you sack a manager? At least let him get through the game. To sack him with, 3 hours to go before it's a very important game. And, let's be honest, it's a winnable game for Everton, even though they're not in their best form at the moment. So it is strange, man, and it does lead you to believe that things are not exactly rosy behind the scenes. And again, they're doing this. Listen, maybe they do have a replacement in mind. I mean, they've come out unequivocally and said it's not Jose. Mm-hmm. So maybe they do have a couple of people who they're confident is going to take the job.
And again, only time will tell as the hours roll on. This will be the main story that is now covering the whole of social media, all the sports broadcasters as well. They'll all be talking about this. The shocking timing of it, but also who is going to now replace Sean Dyche. As we said, Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman
I've got a question
to replace him tonight, interim.
Sean Dyche's been there a few years now. What do you make of his overall
Probably
tenure?
Maybe just under par for the course.
Because he did keep them up last season.
He did. And obviously, even with the 10 points, they still stayed up.
They did beat you lot last year.
Did beat us last season in the derby, yeah, they did. Even though Sean Dyche is a Liverpool fan as well. Taking points off you. Listen, actually, do you know what? Looking at this on paper, in recent weeks, they've drawn away to Chelsea, City they've drawn to, and Arsenal. So, is it par for the course? I mean, look, 23 wins, I think, 31 defeats. Good goal against City. It did. Really good finish from Ndoye.
Ndoye.
So, listen, guys, that's what we're reacting to today. Sean Dyche sacked by Everton. Seamus Coleman and Leighton Baines to take over on an interim basis tonight. And as the days roll on now, hopefully for Everton fans, they can get this now sorted straight away and then focus on staying up into the Premier League. We asked the poll, who next for Everton? Moyes, Southgate, Rooney or Ten Hag? The outstanding answer at the minute, with 43% of the vote, the lion's share is David Moyes. Can there be a return for Moyes back at Goodison Park? And don't forget, they go into that new stadium next season as well. But will it be in the Championship, Laurie? Who knows? Right, good to have you on, as always.
Thank you, man.
Breaking news, buddy. Yeah. Big up to yourself. Big up to everyone who joined us last minute. Get them likes up on the way out. Just shy of 2,000 of you watching and only 200 likes. That's not very nice, is it? Get them up, please, before we go.
Don't cost nothing, man.
It literally is free, bro.
Like button.
And if you enjoy the content, especially as we're running up the stairs, getting it all prepared for you, just smash that button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already as well. And make sure you subscribe to LL Sports as well.
Here it is.
You were just filming something with Flex.
I have been, yeah. Good show. Myself and Flex talking about the, I'm sure you will appreciate this, tie of the round. Arsenal versus Man United.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can't wait for that. Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, I think that's
tie of the competition, maybe. Genuinely.
Whoa,
forget the third round competition. That's heritage there.
Clubs. Arguably bigger for us.
I'd agree. So let us know. Go and subscribe to LL Sports. I've also done a preview for the Accrington Stanley game. I'm sure you're all buzzing to watch that. That's over on the COP TV as well. So loads of content coming out of the house today. Make sure you watch it all. Smash that like button. Get your comments in. How do you react to this? Sean Dyche sacked by Everton. We'll have more on this as it develops.
3 hours before the game.
I know, Laurie. Take care.
Crazy.